All right.
2. Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there going over the river and through the woods and eating leftover pumpkin pie and getting ready for, yet again, another game of the week. The Ravens taking on the 49ers. They would have flexed it if they could have. Amber Theoharis is flexing her NFL Network muscles out in L.A. I saw her down on the field and soaking up the sunshine, but I liked running into her in the Safeway in Canton back in the day. But she's on to the NFL, and I think the NFL Network, Amber's all Lamar all the time, right? The L stands for Lamar at this point. It has been quite a story the last 6 weeks, and I'm trying to go around and get everybody's take on this. You saw it at real fast speed down on the sidelines Monday night.
Yeah, it was extremely impressive. I mean, I knew it would be. He definitely didn't disappoint, but to see it up close, I think all of us were in awe. I was doing the sidelines for the Westwood One national radio broadcast, and it was myself, Kevin Harlan, and Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer. And, I've done quite a few games with them, and I've worked with Kurt for years at NFL Network, and I've never heard them that genuinely, I would say, not surprised, but just impressed with an offense. I mean, they couldn't believe what they were seeing from everything, from the fact that they, first 7 drives, they score 7, they have scored 7 times. They were talking about, that fourth down where they go for it when they were up by 30 at the time. And just Lamar's confidence. I was down on the field hearing him talk to John Harbaugh. And that was what was really cool for me, was hearing, John, it's a love affair. Harbaugh's over 10 years? Is this his 10th year? I'm trying to remember.
12.
So, yeah, this is 12. Yeah. I was doing the math. I was going back. So 12 years. Hats off to him. For the Ravens always kind of won a certain way, and they won a certain way under him. Hats off to him for changing that, for being open to adapt with where the league is going, and deciding to go with Lamar and sticking with it. And I was watching them for that Willie Snead touchdown. I was standing right there, and Coach Harbaugh was going over all the scenarios, the situation, basically what they were going to do. And you just heard Lamar go, I got it. Kind of like you say to your mom, where she's like, and wear your jacket and put your coat on. And he was like, I got it. And he goes and he scores a touchdown. And Coach Harbaugh, as he comes back to the sideline, Coach Harbaugh says, I appreciate you, man. He hugs him, puts his face right in his face mask, and he's like, I appreciate you, man. And Coach Harbaugh told me at halftime, he said, sometimes you overcoach. It's great to have a guy that just reminds you that. He's like, I got it. You don't need to tell me all these things. So their relationship is amazing. But not just the Lamar Jackson and how fast he is and how bold he is. It's the rest of that offense. These are first and second year players for the majority. The 2 receivers that had a good game with Boykin and Hollywood Brown, those are rookies. Then you've got that whole 2018 draft class contributing with Mark Andrews and Gus Edwards and Hayden Hurst. It's been really one of the coolest surprises, one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in 20 years of covering the NFL.
Well, and they're doing it, everyone else is zigging and they're zagging, and I think that's what makes it so fascinating, why the media has descended upon them literally over the last 4 weeks. Everyone is coming, and I'm writing about this over the weekend, to sort of find the mystery of all this. How did it all happen? And, DaCosta and analytics and Ozzie Newsome and going for it on 4th down and putting together a program that Greg Roman can run. And I said it's kind of like he's got a car he's been waiting to drive a long time in this style of offense. They have the right guy driving it, but they've drafted around Lamar. They've built around Lamar. They pro-personneled from Seth Roberts to Willie Snead to Mark Ingram around Lamar to have the kind of players that are going to play complementary football, because no one's going to catch 12 passes for 198 yards in this offense. This wouldn't work for Antonio Brown,
No, it's not going to work, but for that type of a receiver. But you have to go back to what the Ravens, when they made that decision to go with him after the Steelers game. I'm just going off of memory here.
Last year, yes.
Last year, yeah. And they comes out, he wins the game against the Bengals, and then, what did they rip off? 7 straight after that to end the season and make the playoffs? So they made that decision, Not because they were like, okay, Lamar is our guy. He's been waiting in the wings. This was the plan. They made that decision because they took Joe as far as they could take him. And Lamar was the next guy there. I don't think they had the faith in Lamar that they have now. I think he was a first-round draft pick. He was the second-string quarterback, and they went with him. And then they saw a couple things in those first games from him that, they were winning. So they stayed with him. But even after, once they faced the Chargers in the wild card round, the Chargers came with that Gus Bradley, penny defense where you have one linebacker and everybody else is defensive backs, and just absolutely shut the Ravens down. And everybody thought, okay, well, Lamar's just a running quarterback. This is how you do it. This is how you shut him down. Well, to the Ravens, into Lamar's credit, he worked his butt off in the offseason to become a better passer. John Harbaugh gets rid of Marty Mornhinweg and has a run game coordinator in Greg Roman that he knows was with his brother over in San Francisco and had a similar kind of quarterback, even though Lamar's much better than Colin Kaepernick, and had done it before. So for John Harbaugh to say, okay, we won all these games with this guy. He has a lot of work to do. He has a lot of growth. I'm going to commit 100%. I'm going to give him Greg Roman. I'm going to promote Greg Roman. I'm going to, like you said, draft or bring Mark Ingram over. I'm going to draft around him. And that was where the foresight was. It was somewhere between after that Chargers game and the beginning of this year for them to decide to commit the way they did, because that was not a sure shot. Let me remind you. He was not a sure shot when Harbaugh put his faith in him and Eric DeCosta. And that's where that great coaching and great front office talent evaluation really came into play for the Ravens.
Well, 31 other teams didn't want him in the first round, and we see that picture of him with his mom at the draft party. Amber Theoharis is here, Emmy Award-winning host, journalist, storyteller, but sort of Baltimorean as well, hanging out. How's the LA thing working for you? It was quite an evening. I went out and I took the elevator to the top, and I ran into your colleague Kurt Warner. And I got up to the top and I looked out. I couldn't just see the city. You could see the Hollywood sign. You could see Santa Monica. There was no smog. Lamar Jackson is there. The place was filling in. But then I realized, this is a one-shot deal for me, because the next time I watch a game in L.A., it's going to be in the hole down in Inglewood. The city's kind of coming together, and the cheering for Lamar and the MVP chants. And I saw lots of local kids with Action Jackson shirts, pirated shirts from out on the street and whatnot. They love football in L.A., but it's the Rams and the Chargers, and I know the story was written a couple weeks ago about two teams in the stadium. The NFL's in L.A. That's not going to change, but it's a fascinating Raiders territory and Rams territory, and the Chargers are trying to get in. And meanwhile, there's still a lot of people there that are, like you, misplaced and probably root for whatever team was theirs, right?
Yeah, there's a reason that the Rams and the Raiders left so many years ago. LA football is an interesting thing. It is definitely not Northeastern football. It is not Philadelphia. It is not, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I mean, those, New York, those cities, most of the people in that city root for one team. They root for their hometown team because the people are born and bred there. And that's one of the things I really miss about Baltimore, is being from Maryland and just having that identity, and everybody shares that. You guys have Purple Fridays for your kids.
Well, it's going on now. You're really missing. 9-2. The Purple Flamingos are back on the lawn, Amber. I'm not going to lie to you.
I love it. I love that. And you know what? You don't have that here. You kind of nailed it. You summed it up. You have this hodgepodge of a lot of transplants. So you have a lot of people representing. You'll see 49ers flags in people's yards. You'll see, random Bengals, so it's people from all over come to live here. But I think for sure the Rams are the hometown team. The Chargers are struggling to get traction here because, people see them as a San Diego team, and the two cities are 2.5 hours apart. I would say there's definitely more of a Raiders following here than a Chargers following. And we saw that. They won 12 wins last year, and there still wasn't the following here. It's bizarre to go to the stadium in Carson. It's a soccer stadium, and 30,000 people fit in there. And it's cool to see an NFL game from just a bystander standpoint. But if you're a Chargers fan, every single or away team packs that stadium because people just want to come to LA. It's not that expensive. to go to that stadium. So it's a bizarre experience, but the Rams really have a strong following. People picked up from when they left in 95. And I think the new stadium is going to be really exciting for them.
Amber Theoharis joining us here. You can find her on the NFL Network and NFL Today on Westwood One. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. It was good visiting with you. I know our time is short here, but I'm glad I got to you after. I wanted to have you on before the Lamar Jackson thing. I think it's an experiential thing now, right? Like, this is a show that everybody wants to take in. They're going to play on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks from now against the Jets, and then there's the ramp up of the playoffs. I mean, we have a real live Michael Jordan here in Baltimore. It's strange all these years later.
It's exciting, yeah. No, it's been fun to watch. I predicted, my friend Eric Davis, former 49er, reminded me, I was on his show yesterday, that I predicted that the Ravens and the 49ers would have a rematch in the Super Bowl in week 2, I called that. So just, I think I'm pretty dead on with where that might be heading. And hey, by the way, people are believers now, and I'm changing my colleagues at Fox and Westwood One's opinion, and my old colleagues at NFL Network. James Jones, he bet me that Lamar Jackson would be shut down by the Rams defense. So if you go to my Instagram, AmberTheo1, you will see a video of James Jones, former Packer, wearing the Lamar Jackson jersey, apologizing me today.
Everybody's got a purple 8 on. It's cool to wear it right now, right?
Hey, and I love that it's an 8. You know, it's Cal Ripken, it's Ovechkin, it's kind of our area's great one. So I love it.
It's 2 perfect circles. Amber, take care of yourself. Take care of the family. Have a great Thanksgiving. I know it's tough for everybody in the football industry in and out on a football day. We'll be watching all weekend, and I appreciate you making some time for us.
All right. Thanks, Nestor. You have a good holiday.
You do the same.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone in Baltimore.
There you go. She's sending love home and turkey, but no crab cakes for her out in L.A. Amber Theoharis, you can find her out on Twitter and, of course, out on Instagram and at the NFL Network. I saw her out at the L.A. Memorial Coliseum on Monday night. Everybody was out. All the stars were out. Michael Vick was out. It was all and they'll be out again on Sunday at 1 o'clock. They would flex it if they could, but they can't. But we'll be there. Luke's on the backfields in Owings Mills through the holiday, over the river and through the woods. Hope you're enjoying your turkey and stuffing and leftovers and certainly first place Ravens football. You can find me anytime, anywhere, out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world, including Los Angeles. I checked it out on my own mobile device the other night. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Lamar Jackson.